All right. All right. Can you guys hear me? I think you can. All right. Cool. 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 All right. So today I want to talk to you guys about something. All right. And you guys know sometimes it's not always about betrayal or cheating or infidelity that pushes a woman away. You know, it's it's little things that you do, little tiny mistakes that you make over time because one moment it seems like everything is okay, and then suddenly she's no longer yours. And today I'll be sharing the mistakes that men make that push her away into the arms of another man. If you're new here, my name is Mitchell and I'm a relationship coach. And let's get into it. So, first and foremost, I like to talk about the mistake itself, the moment that sets this type of chain reaction. And this is the type of behavior or decision that acts as a turning point, if you will. Often men don't even realize it's a mistake until it's kind of too late. And so, for example, repeatedly dismissing her concerns over time. So saying things like, oh, you're overreacting, or, calm down. It's not that serious. You know, basically what you're conveying is that she doesn't feel heard or understood because what you just communicated to her was that your feelings are not important, and why it could become dangerous. And the reason why it could become dangerous is because these moments, it plants little type of seeds of doubt and resentment that grows over time, making her more susceptible to outside emotional validation. And how she is as a person, that's another story, but she becomes a little bit more open to outside validation. Okay. All right. So why it might feel small at the time, but have huge consequences. A big part of this mistake that men make, whether it's during the pickup phase or dating long term, it's knowing what not to do. So as a guy, you should know there's a difference between the dating, the pickup, and the courting phase. I tell men all the time, the courtship never ends. You should always be dating and courting your woman. If you don't, eventually another man will. And so a big part of this mistake of learning what not to do is little things that harbor big consequences. So say, for example, hello. So you're the best. Oh, thank you. I appreciate it. So little things that harbor big consequences are saying things like, well, I'm never going to be good enough for you, or nothing I do is ever enough, and you're not that into me anymore. And so basically, the common theme between those three things that I've said is you're expecting a type of validation from your girlfriend or your wife because you feel like you're not enough. In other words, you're also conveying that I am no longer the leader. I need your validation in order for me to feel good about myself. And she sees that as weakness. And whether you believe it or not, these 5 to 10 word phrases, like I said, it might not seem like it's a lot, but it leaves a huge impact on your relationship. Whether you're displaying it in a dating phase or just during the pickup. Okay. So women are attracted to men who has a strong sense of self, who are grounded, but also open to things, open to understanding. She is looking for someone who will stand up for himself and also put her in her place if she steps out of line. And when I say put her in her place, it doesn't mean that you have to be an asshole about it. It doesn't mean you have to be mean about it. You don't have to belittle her about it. You're just saying that basically, look, I'm not gonna put up with this BS, and I'll walk and never look back. And so, going back to it, the mistake itself is that if you don't court and date your woman, eventually another man will. Number 2, how that mistake changed her feelings. So you can be upset about it, men. If you're watching this, if you could be upset about it all you want, you could blame her for the other man stepping into her life. But a woman who is head over heels in love with you will not leave you. That's the bottom line. If she's in love with you, she's not going to leave you. And also assuming that she's a happy, healthy, normal woman. A woman with great character won't submit to low integrity type of behavior, meaning that she's not gonna bridge along another guy. She's not gonna monkey branch into another guy while still being in that relationship. And that's assuming, like I said, that's a woman with great character. She won't submit to low integrity type of behavior. And the thing about this is this emotional distance that she is creating between you guys, between you two, is that it grows without obvious signs, meaning it's kind of deadly. It's quiet. Emotional withdrawal is usually silent, and by the time most men catch it, the gap between the two is already too wide between you two. And this is where what my coach calls, Coach Corey Wayne, shout out. This is where he calls it the illusion of action, where because she is pulling away, you feel like as a man, you need to be doing more in order to get her back into your life. Like, I need to get her. I need to do more to get her back. And by doing more, you might not know it. You might be displaying more and more weak behavior, such as begging, pleading, waiting on her beck and call, trying to win her back by getting her validation, saying things like, well, hey, is this okay? Or am I doing this right? Are you still mad at me? You know, she sees him as a weaker man that is submitting to her. A man she loses respect for. And a man she loses respect for, she is unable to love. And also, he is unable to lead. Now, there's a big difference. I want to take a pause for a second. There's a big difference between a man that knows how to lead and a man that controls out of insecurity. Because men who learns how to lead, they don't need to force another person to stay. That's a leader. He walks whether you're going to follow or not. He is going to lead his own life. And that's a man with a purpose, a man that's going to go after the things that he wants and says that he's going to do. That makes a big difference between being with someone that seems like he's confident on the outside, but he's controlling as hell behind closed doors. Who you talking to? You can't have any male friends, etc. So there's a big difference between that. Now, obviously, you're going to set and enforce healthy boundaries, but then a lot of guys, they mistaken boundaries for a lot of insecurities. So be careful with that. And that, I will leave on for another episode. But like I said, begging, pleading, and trying to win her back. All these, hey, am I doing this right? You're just displaying a lot of weak behaviors. So she sees him as a weaker man. Okay. Now, on top of displaying these type of weak behaviors, the two biggest reasons why most relationships starts to fall apart is number one, she does not feel heard and understood, and number two, you stop dating and courting her. And complacency is inevitable in all relationships. You're not going to be on top of your game all the time. But there's a thing that you can do is, do a little self audit. Do a self audit once a week or maybe twice a month. Do a self audit and see where she is at emotionally. And that will give you a good idea on whether or not, hey, is she feeling okay? If she's not, maybe you should communicate that to her and be like, hey, I noticed you've been a little bit more quiet. I noticed you've been a little bit more distant lately. And see what's bothering her. See what is on her mind. Because like I said, you're the leader in the relationship. If you're the leader, you just can't walk away and be like, well, she's not willing to open up. Now, if that's what she is doing, she's unable to open up to you, but she once did, it usually says that something is wrong. But if she never opened up to you and you constantly have to pry it open to try to get something out of her, you might want to ask yourself, well, is this the right relationship for me? So, because the bottom line is you cannot have a good relationship without proper and healthy communication between you guys. Now, number three is the other man's role, or the role of the other guy. The other guy that she gets with because she left you and she probably found somebody else. Let's call this the filler gap. Now, I will have to preface that a good woman, okay, not all women out there are good, but a good woman will not monkey branch. It will not bridge along another man if she is still in her current relationship. If she's still in her current relationship, even though her needs are not being met or fulfilled, she's not going to bridge along another person. Now, so let's talk about our job as men. Our job as men is, if we don't want to lose her, send her to... You should not care about past girls. It's not really so much about caring about past girls, but it's more about learning about the mistakes that you made. That's the important key. Because the whole idea is, and I get this a lot from other guys, usually when they lose a relationship, the first thing that they ask me is, how do I win her back? How do I get her heart again? How can I make her fall in love with me? And immediately I always tell them, look, that's already the wrong concept. That's the wrong mindset. That's not how you're supposed to approach it. So I partially agree with what you said. Now, like I said, it's our job as men. If you don't want to lose her to another man, you have to play your part. You got to do more things right than you do wrong. And I get it. A lot of guys that is watching this, they'll probably be like, oh, why, Mitchell, why is it always the guy to blame? And I'm telling you this because I want you to become better. I want men out there to become better. And there's nothing wrong with becoming a better person. But there's always more negative consequences of staying where you are at, especially if you have multiple girls in your life doing the same thing to you. Repetition. Let's just say you got 10 girlfriends and they all left you within less than a year. What does that tell you? That something needs to change. Whether it's you yourself, your behavior, how you're conveying things, something has to change. My cat. Evie, stop. So, like I said, there's nothing wrong with becoming better, but there's always more negative consequences for men, especially if they just stay where they're at. And I'm not saying that she's not wrong, nor am I saying that she's like the perfect candidate. I'm not saying that at all. What I am saying is that strong men puts the blame on themselves. They do not blame other people. And you can acknowledge that maybe, hey, you know what? The girl that you were with might not be the best person because maybe there were some red flags that you kind of overlooked. Maybe she has some poor characteristics. And then you could ask yourself this question. Well, why did I put up with that? Why did I put up with that? But strong men blame themselves. Weak men blame other people. And there's a class of these men out there that constantly blame women for how they're acting. And it's like choosing for them. It's like, well, this is how you're supposed to be. Okay, what's up? Is it Celine? What's up? What's going on? I think I've seen you here before. So now I'm here to help men become better. I'm here to help men become better. And what ends up happening is when you become better as a guy, you become a mirror to most of them. You become a mirror. And either she will see that and she will want to become better herself, and then your relationship becomes better, or she sees that and remains the same, and then you have a choice. Well, are you in or are you out? You have more choices as guys. But I always say that as men, we should strive for infinite growth. And those who is willing to follow, they will follow. And you become so irresistible that it makes it difficult for people that are around you, that sees who you are, a person with great character, great morals, to want to leave a person like that because of a person that you become. And that is the goal. Strive for infinite growth. And like I said before, women do not leave men they are head over heels in love with. They only leave men that they lost attraction for. And if there's another man displaying more attractive behaviors, that listens to her, that understands her, she will choose the more attractive mate. And this is the same exact thing. I was just talking to my girlfriend earlier. I was like, imagine me where I'm at now, and I have this potential of growth, and all of a sudden one day, let's just say we've been together for 10, 20, whatever years. And all of a sudden, I just decided that I don't want to do anything anymore. I want to be a couch potato. I just want to sit at home all day, don't really put in my effort at work, don't do anything, and just kind of be this bum. What will end up happening is she will probably tolerate my little slump or depression or whatever you want to call it for about somewhere between 6 to 12 months at most. And then after that time, guess what's going to happen? Yeah, I kind of remember you. After that time, she will be like, all right, you know what? Something's not right. Obviously, you're really not taking care of yourself. Let's just say I was the best boyfriend for the past years, past decade, 2 decades. None of those things will add up. It doesn't carry over. So men, if you're watching this, you have to understand that what you did before have no carryover to where you're at now and how she feels about you now, because you have to remember that feeling is living in a moment. It's present. So for you to compare it to the past, it's kind of unfair, but logically it makes a lot of sense, because like, look, I've done so much for her. I put a roof over her head. Yeah, it makes a lot of sense. But if you constantly display more and more weak behaviors, doing more things wrong than you do right, she is going to lose attraction for you, and that's the bottom line. And if you don't like it that way, well, I don't know who else that you could blame, okay? You could blame women, but look, I didn't create this. This is just how women work and how they operate. What's up? You're the coach, right? I remember you, if I remember this correctly. It's been a minute. It's been a minute. G. So, good. Thanks for asking. How are you? So, women don't leave men they're head over heels in love with. They only leave men that they lose attraction for. So, like I said, if you're losing to another man, there's a way to approach this. Okay? And what I would like to say this is, regardless if it is this relationship or your next or your past relationship, whatever, if you don't change your behaviors, no matter who you're with, they're going to leave you eventually. So your job as a man is to make her feel like she's made the best choice by being with you, and she wouldn't want it any other way. What is behind you? Action figure. Yeah, I love my Pokemon. And some books and video games. How do you keep engaged? How to keep engaged women? How to keep engaged? Like, are you guys engaged? Or how to keep a woman engaged? You have to have something interesting in your life. That's what I would say. So think of it like this. If anybody asks me what I like to do or what I do for my job, I will absolutely tell them what I do. I'm a relationship coach. I love coaching men. I love seeing them become better. I'm also a personal trainer as well. That's something that I have embedded in me. Health and fitness is something that's really important to me. Some of my hobbies, I love dancing. So, naturally for me personally, I like collecting certain things, and Pokemon's one of them. And I love shoes, and I could talk about them all day. So in order to be interesting, you have to be interested in the things that you want. Can you show that looks fire? Pokemon, some books, some more Pokemon, some plants. Shout out to my girl for doing this. She put some books. I got some video games and some cat stuff underneath that I like to hide because, those are for the cats. Anyways, let's talk about relationship. Regardless, okay? You have to become better, because if you don't change your behaviors, eventually the next person that you get with, she's gonna leave you, okay? So let's talk about what could have been done differently. Prevention over repair. What's done is done, and now it's time to learn that, so that it does not happen again. Reflection and learn. How old are you, bro? Take a wild guess, man. Make a wild guess. So now that she is with another man, You have to create something for yourself of abundance. No one else would believe in you like yourself. Sometimes our vibes match and sometimes not. When not, there's a dead air. How to avoid such situation. Are you guys in front of each other? Are you guys talking? Because especially if you're not together, you guys aren't exclusive, you want her to be doing about 80% of talking, which means that you want to be asking, oh good, face to face, which means that you want to be asking questions. Be interested in what she does. So if she tells you, it's like, maybe it's your first date, and you ask her, so like, what are some of your hobbies? What are some things that, makes you the happiest? And then she will go on and on about it. And then if she tells you she likes doing makeup or she likes working out, oh really, working out? Like, what got you into fitness? What started it all? Things like that. You want to ask more open-ended questions and see if she's interested. And then also you also want to see that if she's interested in you too, she'll be asking you some questions about yourself so that you could kind of talk a little bit, but eventually you want to throw it back on her, because what ends up happening is what was that thing? Everyone's favorite topic is about themselves. So if you listen to what you say, and if most of what you have in your vocabulary is I, chances are you're not asking enough of you. So what do you like to do? What do you enjoy doing? Things like that. And so, well, what got you there? How long have you been doing this for? What is your most, what's the type of work you're most proud of? Those are certain questions that you could be asking so that they could talk a lot about themselves. And guess what's going to happen usually? At the end of the day, she's going to feel like she had a great time with you. Why? Because she's been talking 80-90% of the time. And what you also don't realize is that the person that's asking the most questions is in control of the conversation. So if you're in control of the conversation and you're asking her, she feels like she's in control because she's talking a lot. But the person that's asking the question has a lot more info, which also puts you in a position of, well, you remain a little bit more mysterious to her. You're not like all the other guys that she's been out on a date with. Because, okay, I don't know anything about this guy, because this whole entire date, I was just talking about myself, about what I like, makeup, maybe dogs, whatever. And she's like, okay, then you have a good time. Then you have a second date. But there's steps to this. So, I'll leave it for a different topic. I saw you song that. I think you're so good. I think you're 29. I'm a little bit older than that. Thank you, though. I'll take that as a compliment. So prevention over repair. Okay, so let's talk about that. Lesson learned. Moving on. Now that she's with another man, you have to create the sense of abundance for yourself, and no one else will believe in you like you can for yourself. And the fire that you have right now, let's just say she left you, the fire that you have, you can use that like motivation. But just like motivation is more of a push. Think about it as more of a push energy. Eventually that push, you're going to get tired out and you're going to get burnt out. And you can't rely on motivation. And just like that, the same thing goes. That fire that you have, it will start to simmer down. So what I would recommend is that you better have a good enough reason to continue to be doing the things that you are doing to create an abundance for yourself. So here's an example, okay? To create an abundance for yourself I always use this example of this guy that, I knew when we were, what was it? Close to 20 years ago? Almost 20 years. 15 to 20 years ago. How do I make myself worthy to her? Already, I would like to put a pause on that. That is already the wrong approach. The best question that you can ask yourself is, how do I make myself the most attractive self again? How do I make myself the most attractive self? Why? So that you become more attractive to everybody, not just that one girl that you're trying to go for. Because you want to see, so if you're looking from this angle, you want to look beyond just her. You want to be most attractive behind that. Okay, bro. Have a good day. Bye. Have a good day. All right, man. Thank you for stopping by. I appreciate you. Yeah. That squirrel. What did you? Let me lose interest. So she doesn't make it. You have to be interested. You have to have a life that you want to lead for yourself and by yourself in order for other people to want to follow you. So it's going to be a little bit quiet in the beginning, and that's okay. So you have to learn to be okay with silence for a little bit, because you're going to, and you have to enjoy what you do in order to be able to enjoy the silence that you're in. That's another key thing that not a lot of people talk about. They talk about always being okay or enjoy being in silence or being around yourself. Most people can't even go home and stare at a wall without needing to take out their phone or do something. People don't enjoy silence because what they're saying to themselves, probably they're trying to avoid most of the time. And so that's why we have so many things to distract ourselves. But sometimes you just got to unplug. You got to unplug. So that's what I would recommend for you, is to find something that you truly enjoy, and then get right into it. And what I was saying earlier too was there's a difference between about somewhere between 15 to 20 years ago. There was a guy that I knew. He was a really great dancer, and I don't know if he still dances to this day, but I remember at one point in his life, he, his main goal was women, and so, or girls, at the time. And so at the time I was like, yeah, so I was interested. I'm always curious, like what got you into this? What started you in dancing? He literally told me, he was like, I dance because girls are there. And I was like, cool, like we were young, so I was like, yeah, go ahead, do what you gotta do. And he did it because he got a girl. He could get girls. And the moment he got a girl, he kind of stopped dancing. His reason to do something was for a woman. And the moment he got one, guess what happened? He stopped. At least I haven't seen him dance in a very long time. Dancing for me now, even though I'm not what you will call a professional dancer, I love dancing. It's a great way to create for myself too. Been doing it for a little over 20 years, and it's something that I kind of keep close to myself. I enjoy it, and that reasoning for me is like, wow, like the ability to be able to create, even though it's not my choreography, I'm able to create it and see it for myself. And I believe in myself more and more every time that I see a choreography, that if I see it and I can be like, I could do this, even though it's difficult, I could do this. And it builds me up over time. And over time, my resume of a list of choreographies that I do know, it just keeps stacking. And I think I'm over 20-30 choreographies off top. I stopped counting after a while, but you're like I said, your reasoning needs to be big. You have to have a why you want to do this. My why was simple. I love doing it. It makes me happy. And that's as simple as it was, and it stuck with me for over 20 years. So, like I said, no one will believe in you like you would believe in yourself. So, it's a motivation that could get you started in the beginning, but just like motivation is a push energy, you need something that draws you in. It's more of a pull, something that will emotionally compel you to continue to do the things that you want to do. And that is how you become interesting to other people, because of your work will speak for itself. If you love doing what you do, people could see that. And people love seeing people that has a passion for something. And so now, to keep things simple though, if you just starting off, what I want to do, well, you want to take care of yourself physically, okay? Because that's the first thing that people could actually see. I love singing, but I can't sing all day. That's okay. Sing for 5 minutes. Who cares? Me neither. I can't sing either, but I like, saying some words from time to time. All right. So, like I said, whether it's going to the gym and just taking care of your physical body, educating yourself, enhancing your mind, or you're here listening to this podcast, understand what it takes to win the heart of the woman of your dreams. Whatever it may be, whatever you're interested in, it will boost your level of confidence, because you become more competent over time, and that is how you build confidence. And the more confident you are, guess what happens? The number one most attractive characteristic that most women find attractive in a male, a masculine man, is his confidence. And if you could display that type of confidence, she is naturally going to be drawn to you. So you're no longer really on the chasing mode, you're more of the attracting mode. But you got to believe in that, and nobody will believe in it like you would. Okay? And I know you guys could do it. So you got to start believing in yourself, because if you don't, nobody else will. Okay? And it's really, really difficult to convince somebody if you don't even believe it in yourself. So most men, they make the mistake by, like I said, saying, how do I win her back? That's already setting up, attracting mode. Yeah. Most men make the mistake when they lose a woman, whether they love her, whatever it may be. It's like, oh, how do I win her back? How do I do this? How do I do that? Like I said, the number one most important thing is your mindset. How do I become my most attractive self so that I could attract everybody? Well, start with taking care of yourself. If you look at yourself in the mirror and you're not really happy with where you're at, go to the gym, learn a little bit about nutrition, go read some books about nutrition, go educate yourself on something. That is what most people won't do. And if you're willing to do what the 3% of people will do for themselves, they're gonna have way more chances. Because whether you like it or not, if you think about it from this perspective, women have more choices than men when it comes to dating. Women have more choices. Now, what I would say is that it doesn't mean that all the choices that they have are always good, but it's still a choice. It's kind of like if you go to a restaurant and all you have is that one item. Now, women, they have more lists on the item, but it's everything that they don't want to eat. Just think of it like that. And so what is rare though? What I would say is that what is rare though is a man who knows who he is, who goes after what he wants, has a purpose, have a mission in life, have strong morals, means what he says, and goes after what he says. And so he puts a lot of actions behind it. That is someone that is rare. That is someone that is not common. And so when you do more things right for yourself, and you're a person that takes care of themselves, respects your own time, you're not going to really be putting up with people that waste your time. And so in other words, there's a lot of women out there that waste a lot of time on men, or waste a lot of men's time. They will rather go out on a date than sit at home and stare at the four walls. So they're like, hey, it's a free meal, why not? It's better for them. So now, if you guys do have any questions, attracting mode, yes. If you guys do have any questions, please leave it on that question down below, or leave it on the comments if you're watching this on the rerun. But I would say this: if you guys did enjoy this video, please give it a thumbs up, subscribe if you haven't already, and I will catch you guys on the next live. All right, every Saturday, 12 p.m. Pacific time, 3 p.m. Eastern time. Peace.